Go.
Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to the X Factor Sports Podcast Season 7 premiere. We are live on YouTube and Rumble Wednesday nights, 7 p.m. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow the X Factor Sports Podcast. We are back. So happy to have y'all in this evening. If you're listening on all the audio platforms or if you're watching live, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm your host, Jay Mondane. Glad to have y'all in. Happy Black History Month. Let's go ahead and get this thing started. The Season 7 premiere starts right now. All right? And no better way to start it, but with these layup lines, we had a lot of crazy things happen on our break. So I couldn't wait to get back in front of y'all and talk about it. I'm about to go crazy tonight. All right? So let's start with the NCAA. You know I got to go here. Duke beat North Carolina over the weekend. Smacked them around. I don't know what UNC thought it was, but they in trouble this year, so they gotta deal with Duke. All right, beat them 87-70 on Saturday. I think the lead was up to 25, almost 30 points at one point. Cooper Flag 21-8-7 looked great, came out strong, rebounded from that North Carolina State game, and then we also had it was a doubleheader on Saturday night, so I wanted to touch on both. John Calipari returns to Lexington in Kentucky as the Arkansas head coach. Looked weird as hell, I ain't gonna lie. Seeing him in a red blazer. I'm old enough to remember him at UMass back in the Marcus Camby days, but in between UMass and now, for 30 years, he was a Memphis coach wearing blue and then a Kentucky coach for 15 years wearing blue. So to see him in red was crazy. But his guys showed up for him. DJ Wagner, all his boys that came with him from Kentucky, showed up and showed out. Arkansas played the best game they probably played all year at the right time. They upset Kentucky 89-79 in Rupp Arena. All 5 starters for Arkansas were in double digits. Great game for John Calipari and his return. All right. Now in the NBA, trade deadline is tomorrow. I know y'all, if y'all have phones or if you're breathing, you're on planet Earth, you've seen what's been happening in these trades. Surprising bombshell trade that we're going to get into, but there were a couple other trades, significant ones that did happen leading up to tomorrow's trade deadline. There's probably going to be some things going on tonight during the show leading up to tomorrow afternoon. But De'Aaron Fox goes to the Spurs. He actually had voiced his opinion about wanting to go to the Spurs, and they got him there, him and Wemby. Think that sets them up for the future. Chris Paul kind of passed the torch to De'Aaron Fox. Good mentorship, hopefully. The key point of this trade, though, the Spurs were able to keep Stephon Castle. They wanted to keep him. He's a good scorer, rookie. They believe in him. They show they believe in him by not throwing him in this trade, and they were able to keep him. So I think that does good for them. Wemby and De'Aaron Fox, they could be a good tandem for the next 5-6 years, so I'm looking forward to that. With all that happening, Zach LaVine left Chicago, went to Sacramento, reunited with DeMar DeRozan, so they look like the Sacramento Bulls right now, and it looked like the Bulls are going to try to tank. Vucevic might be gone by the time this episode is over, who knows? But it's weird because with De'Aaron Fox leaving, I guess Malik Monk is going to be their point guard. I don't know what Sacramento's doing. They seem like they've been fumbling for years since Chris Webber and all them dudes left in the early 2000s. I don't know what the Kings have been up to, but I don't know what they're trying to do with getting these duplicate players on the same team going out on the floor. So you get DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine again. It obviously didn't work in Chicago. I don't know. Maybe this is a trade piece down the road. We'll see. And then the biggest trade, arguably, I've probably seen in my lifetime. Luka, Doncic, and AD get traded for each other. Nobody expected this to show up on their phones. I know when we got home, me and Miss D was kicking it over the weekend. I get home, she like, what happened? What's going on? This trade pops up on my phone. Everybody thought it was fake, including myself, but obviously it's real. It happened. AD and Luka swapped Mavs Lakers, and that's where we're going to pivot to. All right, so let's get into it. Who won this trade? The Lakers or the Mavs? Now, like I said, this might be one of the most shocking trades I've ever seen, probably in NBA history. Some people may go back and remember the Kareem leaving Milwaukee. Obviously, I wasn't alive for that. But right now, in this day and era, during the player movement, player empowerment movement, whatever you want to call it, to have a 25-year-old, 5-time first-team All-NBA player in his prime get traded mid-season, basically behind closed doors. Nobody else had a chance to bid on it. It was just a direct conversation with Rob Pelinka of the Lakers and Nico Harrison of the Mavs to get this trade done in the shadows, which tells me a bunch about how the Dallas Mavericks felt about Luka. And I'm all for players getting their money, so I do feel bad for Luka. I mean, this dude was going to sign a supermax, 5 years, $350. And now he won't be eligible for it because he's gone to another team that just sucks. Leaving a state where there's no state income tax to the highest state income tax in California. So taking a big haircut. But again, I always say this about all sports. The front office always tells you how they feel about players when moves are made. So for them to do this behind closed doors, don't allow anybody else to know about it, and give this dude a $120-some million haircut and throw taxes on his head, tells you something must have been going on in that organization. Now, it's a lot to unpack here. And on Monday, I put a TikTok in to ask everybody, who did they think won this trade? And 90% of y'all say the Lakers won this trade. All right, so all y'all are wrong because the Lakers did not win this trade. The Mavs won this trade. And I'm going to break down how they won this trade. So, like I just pointed to, all of these things that happened behind closed doors with what the Mavs did to Luka Doncic. All right. He was disgruntled to work with, to play with. He had his own staff. He is hurt currently on the same calf injury for the third time. He's 25 years old. Any basketball player know you don't get in better shape the older you get. So if he's dealing with all this at 25, what are you going to look like at 29 years old? Right? Back-to-back seasons, he's came into training camp over 260. Are you a point guard or are you a defensive end? Right? Are you trying to be Magic Johnson or Chris Jones? Like, how are you coming to training camp looking like Chris Jones? The crazy thing about this is they just went to the finals. Right? So he played in 100 games last year. Then he played in the Olympics for his country. So how do you play all that basketball and come back to training camp 265? So what are you saying to the organization? If you are a GM, are you going to pay a player that comes to training camp every year fat, out of shape, injured, drinking beer, smoking hookah all summer? Is that player worth $70 million a year to you? No. So absolutely the Mavericks won this trade. And you know why the Mavericks won this trade? Because they know that they're in a position to win now, right? The only thing I would say the Mavs should have did is they could have got more picks. To only get one first-round pick in Max Christie and AD, that was a little light. But, I mean, if Mikal Bridges can get 5 first-round picks, if the Brooklyn Nets can get 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges from the Knicks, I think Luka Doncic is at least worth 2 or 3 first-round picks with AD, right? He's a 5-time first-team All-NBA player, MVP candidate year over year. But this tells you what the Dallas Mavericks thought of Luka Doncic. They wanted him out of the building. And what hasn't been said yet, Nico Harrison, the GM for the Dallas Mavericks, has got balls to pull this off. This does not happen. People do not trade franchise all NBA guys in their prime, and he did it. And you know what? He took it on the chin. The thing about being a GM is you want to leave your mark because you know you have a short window of time to change a franchise. Since Nico Harrison's been there, he has been to 2 conference championships, just went to the finals, got Kyrie, got Clay, got Daniel Gafford, got PJ Washington, had Derrick Jones Jr. last year, got them to a final, drafted Derek Lively, and now he's got AD. He's preparing this team to win now, right? They don't think that Luka has done what he's needed to do to be a $70 million a year player. And so when you feel that way with this new ownership, Mark Cuban would have never done this, but Mark Cuban's not the majority owner anymore. So what do? Right? You talk to your boy Rob Pelinka, hey, I'm only letting you know this because you're my boy, but Luka is on the table. What can you give me for that? And he got AD. Now, this is why the Mavs won this trade. Aside from that, they obviously think Luka, he's always hurt, out of shape. They don't like the way he talks to the refs. They don't like the way he ingratiates himself with the team. All of these things, right? So, but with this team as it stands now, the Mavericks got bigger and better defensively, and their starting 5 is set up. So now AD, this is a win-win for AD too. AD didn't want to play the 5 anymore in LA. He was screaming about it since 2020 after they won the bubble championship because he had JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard at the 5. That's when you got the best of AD. When he was in New Orleans and Boogie was the 5, you got the best of AD. So now here with Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively and him give you 25 and 12, what more can you ask for? So Dallas, they checked all the boxes. They got the headache out of the building. You got stability with Kyrie and Dinwiddie at the point guard position. You got Clay at the 2, PJ Washington at the 3 at 6'9", AD at the 4 at 6'11", Daniel Gafford at the 5, and you got Derek Lively coming off the bench. So they've gotten more athletic, they've gotten better defensively, and you still get 25 a game from AD. Where on the other side, everybody's thinking the Lakers won this trade. The Lakers got smaller, the Lakers got fatter, the Lakers got more injured, right? Even Max Christie, a good defender, they let him out the door. So now what do? And then you got JJ Redick, who is a shooter by nature, a rookie head coach. He has to figure out how to play LeBron and Luka at the same time, who play the same position, 2 ball-dominant players who don't shoot the 3 that well. He's got to figure out how to put both of these guys on the floor at the same time. So how did the Lakers win this trade? Are we talking about the future? If y'all have a crystal ball, maybe these Laker fans or people that think the Lakers won this trade have a crystal ball and they can see 5 years from now and say, yeah, Luka gonna win 2-3 championships, so of course they won this trade. I'm talking about right now. I don't see it. Yes, he's a productive player. Yes, he's a good player, good to great. But when he doesn't have pieces around him, they don't win. He showed y'all that in Dallas. Until he started getting pieces around him, he wasn't winning anything. And now he's the succession plan for the Lakers in the future. For LeBron, LeBron can pass the torch. So this also shows the Lakers and Rob Pelinka are telling LeBron, listen, we're not on your timeline anymore. We're doing what's best for the organization. We have a 25-year-old heir apparent to you, and we're going to pass the torch. But what happens is now they got to pay Luka. Hopefully he stays healthy. And then they got to try to build pieces around him. But this season, I think if they don't do something by tomorrow, 3 o'clock, This season is a wash. I don't think the Lakers make any noise in the playoffs. If they make the playoffs, they're going to get bounced in the first round because as the team is presently constructed, they are not good. They're not better than Dallas. Dallas got better, in my opinion. So that's why I say the Mavs won this trade. I didn't even think it was close. I thought it was crazy initially that a Luka Doncic would be traded. But then when I took a step back and looked at the construction of the team, they got the piece they wanted. The Mavs did. They didn't get enough for that piece. But as far as the individual player, you traded an all-NBA player for all-NBA player. That's why this is the craziest trade ever, because it never happens. You never see two all-NBA guys get flipped around, but the Mavs were able to pull it off. Think about this. Look at what Kawhi Leonard's doing to the Clippers. They built a brand new stadium. They couldn't even announce Kawhi Leonard's name opening night because they didn't want the fans to boo because he wasn't dressed. He wasn't dressed to play. Look at Joel Embiid in Philly. Joel Embiid has missed 400 games. Y'all understand what I'm saying? That's 5 NBA seasons this dude has missed. How many years has Joel Embiid been in the league? 10 years? He's missed 5 of them. And he got the 76ers in a chokehold. This dude missed 400 basketball games. Zion Williamson in New Orleans. How many games this dude gonna miss? He can't stay in shape. He can't stay healthy. So Nico Harrison and the Dallas Mavericks is sending a message. If you can't show up to work, if you are not going to be professional, if you're not going to take this serious, if you're not going to take care of your body, we're not going to put $70 million a year in investment into you. So it's putting all of these superstars on notice. Y'all better take this thing serious. So I like the move. I think the Mavs won this move in so many different levels. Now, based on history, all we can go off of is what we see. Luka will be a great individual player. But now in LA, where all the drama is in Hollywood, you got to deal with that. Even Magic Johnson already came out and said, yeah, Luka going to have to take his conditioning seriously. He ain't been there 72 hours. And they already talk about he got to take his conditioning serious. But he's still nursing a calf injury, the same calf injury, for the 3rd time. So is it his calf? Is it a tender Achilles? Like, which one is it? So you got to figure it out. The Dallas Mavericks were not going to capitulate to all the things that Luka was asking for, and they were out of the Luka business. So to me, the Dallas Mavericks won this trade. When AD comes back, I think they get things going. Defensively, they are going to be tough. They get Derek Lively back. I think they get things going. I think J. Kidd is going to love playing with AD. Kyrie and Anthony Davis in the pick and roll is going to be a sight to see. So I'm looking forward to it. But y'all let me know what y'all think. Obviously, like I said on TikTok on Monday, 90% of y'all say the Lakers won this trade. I just gave y'all about 5-6 bullet points as to why I don't think they won this trade. But y'all let me know what y'all think. Again, like, share, subscribe on YouTube, the X Factor Sports Podcast. Told y'all we heating up. And we finna pivot into the NBA power rankings, okay? So we haven't done these in a while, but we always want to start off the season because All-Star Weekend is coming in a couple weeks. So we're halfway through the season, a great time to talk about the power rankings. So let's go ahead and dive into those, all right? So at number 10, LA Clippers. Kawhi is actually back, so they've been looking good since then. Number 2 defensive rating. 3rd in scoring defense, starting to play a lot better on offense with Kawhi back. Obviously, more options for James Harden, Zubac. So they look good. All right, they cracked the top 10. At number 9, as it sits today, the LA Lakers are actually playing good basketball. AD missed the last couple games. He got hurt. But his last game he played, he had a 40-20 game. So that's what the Mavericks are getting. All right. Lakers have won 8 out of their last 10 games. Won a big game against the Knicks on Saturday night without AD. We'll see if they can keep it going. But as it stands right now in the power rankings, they are number 9. At number 8, The Pacers are starting to wake up. Pascal Siakam got the nod for the All-Star game. You got Tyrese Halliburton. He's starting to wake up. He was an All-Star last year. Won 8 out of their last 10 and won 4 straight as of yesterday. So congrats to the Pacers picking it up. Moved up to top 10 in offensive rating, pace, and they were on a slow start and starting to pick it up. So beginning of the season didn't look great, but it's looking good now. So I got the Pacers at number 8. At number 7, the Denver Nuggets. 7 out of their last 10. They won top 10 in pace, net rating, and offensive rating. They're always going to be tops in offensive rating as long as Nikola Jokic is on the floor. They dropped, I think, 3 straight, but now they're on a 3-game winning streak this week. So that moves them up to number 7. Nikola Jokic. As long as this dude is playing, he will always be in the MVP conversation. Check this out. Nikola Jokic is averaging 30, 13, 10, and 2 steals a game at the center position. Nikola Jokic, 2 steals a game. Crazy. So I got them at number 7. At number 6, Houston Rockets. If I would have did the NBA Power Rankings 2 weeks ago, they might have been top 3. But they slipped a little bit. I know y'all remember they beat the Cavs back-to-back in a home and home, and then they beat Boston in Boston. Young team. Ime Udoka probably charged them up to go in Boston and win that for sure. But they've had a little bit of a slippage lately. That's why they dropped to 6 as it stands today. Was my surprise team, if you go back last season, this was my surprise team to make the playoffs this year. I felt like Ime Udoka had a full season to get his defensive system in place. You got Fred VanVleet. You got some veterans around these young guys. Amen Thompson is making a name for himself. Congrats to Alfred Şengün making an all-star game. They look like a good young team, man. They going to replace what Sacramento did a couple years ago when they made the playoffs. So the Rockets look good. This is my young team. And they are top 5 in defensive rating, which is always impressive for a young team to be good at defense. That's the hardest thing to do in the NBA, especially young, and they're able to flip the switch. So shout out to Ime Udoka for that. At number 5, the New York Knicks. They've won 7 out of their last 10 games, even though they just lost to the Lakers the other day. But they're top 5 in point differential in the entire NBA, top 5 in offensive and net rating, which is crazy to say with a team that's coached by Tibbs. He usually on the top in the defense. But when you got Karl Anthony Towns and you got Jalen Big Body Brunson doing their thing, Mikal Bridges starting to hit threes, you get offensive production. So I got them at 5. Number 4, the Boston Celtics. All right, they top 5 in offense, defense, net rating. They'll always hang around top 5 this season if they keep playing that way. Like I said a couple episodes ago, they still live and die by the 3. And the other day, it's like they spotted Philly a bunch of points. It looked like that game was getting out of hand, and then they woke up in the second half. Was like, all right, let's come back and win this game. And ended up winning the game by double digits. So that just tells you how good the Boston Celtics are. Like, they can turn it on at any time. It's just championship DNA, I guess. So still living and dying by the 3, but still keeping pace with the Cavs for the 1 seed in the East. And honestly, I don't think they care about the 1 seed. I think they just want to make sure they get through the regular season healthy and get to the playoffs. With Porzingis healthy, everybody ready to go fresh so they can try to repeat. At number 3, the Cleveland Cavaliers. They've been balling all year long, number 1 in the East, 2nd in point differential, top 10 in everything, pace, offense, defensive rating, and number 1 in offensive rating as well. Net rating, and number 1 in offensive rating. They had a 3-game losing streak, and 2 of those was to the Rockets, like I talked about earlier. Then they bounced back, and they're on a 4-game winning streak now. And the other day, goddamn, they put up 91 and a half on Dallas. They had 91 first half points. All right. So you think with the addition of Anthony Davis, that probably wouldn't help a little bit? Just saying. And then AD give you 25 on the other side. So, but the Cavs are number 3 right now. At number 2, this is a surprise. But again, I had Memphis coming back once Ja got into form, and Ja is back. Taking care of business. You got Jaren Jackson Jr. getting back to the All-Star game. Congrats to him. Memphis Grizzlies, number 2 in the power rankings. The number 2 seed in the West. They overtake the Southwest Division over Houston right now. I think they 1 game or half game up on them. They have the best win-loss record out of the last 10 games. They've won 9 out of their last 10. The league's best, top 10 in offense, defense, net rating, number 1 team in pace, number 1 in points per game. The Memphis Grizzlies playing some great basketball right now. Like I said, this is a power ranking, so we talk about how teams are playing currently. It ain't always about the standings. It's about how you're playing and what you're doing to affect games. And I got them at 2. And at number 1, OKC Thunder. They've been either number 1 or number 2 all season, it seems. Top 5 in every category. Number 1 in point differential at almost 13 points a game. So you step out on the floor with the Thunder, you probably losing by double digits. That's how good these dudes have been. They only got 9 losses on the year. They're number 1 in opponents' points per game. So they're the best defensive team and they're the best offensive team. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is my MVP. I've been saying this since before Thanksgiving. He's going to win it. And as a point guard, he leads the league, the NBA, in points. He leads his team in assists, field goal percentage, steals, and blocks. This is the point guard of the Oklahoma City Thunder, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Got snubbed last year from the MVP. So he'll probably get it this year as he deserves it. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the OKC Thunder, number 1 in the power rankings. So there we go. You see the list on the screen. My people that's listening on all the audio platforms can't see the list, but all my people watching on YouTube can. Clippers, Lakers, Pacers at 8, Nuggets, Rockets, Knicks at 5, the C's, Cavs at 3, Memphis Grizzlies, and the OKC Thunder at number 1. All right. That's what it looks like right now in the NBA. Again, this is the X Factor Sports Podcast. We are in season 7, the premiere on YouTube and Rumble every Wednesday night. So be sure to subscribe and check us out every week. All the audio platforms, if you listen to podcasts, you can check us out on all the audio platforms that allow podcasts every week. All right. The Super Bowl. Who is going to win this Super Bowl? All right, I got Miss D staring at me like, who you going to pick? She been trying to figure out who I'm going to pick to win this Super Bowl. She even asked me the other day while I was putting together the show. And I told her I didn't know because honestly, y'all, I didn't know. I did not have an answer. This was so hard for me to decide on who I thought was going to win this Super Bowl. Super Bowl 59 this Sunday, the Chiefs against the Eagles, the rematch from 2 years ago. In the season 6 finale live at Bogies, we actually predicted the Eagles versus the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Now, the rest of the bracket didn't go the way we thought it would, but we still ended up with these 2 teams in the Super Bowl. So I think that was a good job by us. And I've been wrecking my brain, man, all week trying to decide who I think is going to win this game. So I honestly didn't have an answer until Monday. So I put together a chart. Again, my viewers or my listeners on the audio won't see it, but my viewers will. So the chart that I got, these are kind of the keys to victory in this Super Bowl, what I believe. The quarterback, the run game, defense, the trenches, which is the line of scrimmage on both sides, and the coaching, right? From the quarterback position, the Chiefs got that all day. You got Patrick Mahomes, one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. Has won 3 Super Bowls already, been to 4. He's got the experience. They win all the close games. He gives you clutch. He gives you everything you need in a quarterback. That's not a knock on Jalen Hurts, but he's going up against the best quarterback in the league, arguably the best quarterback of this generation, right? So the nod is easily going to go to the Chiefs at the quarterback position. The run game, though, is the complete opposite. All right, Saquon Barkley, he's the best running back in football. He has a chance to rush for the most rushing yards in an NFL season in this Super Bowl and pass Terrell Davis in 1998, back when he went to the Super Bowl. And I think he should get some MVP votes. He'll definitely be Offensive Player of the Year. So Wouldn't be surprised by that. But the run game has to give a nod to the Philadelphia Eagles. They've proved it all season long. They have the best offensive line. The tush push gets some yards. Jalen Hurts gets rushing yards. So the run game as a whole unit, with Saquon Barkley leading the charge, got to go to the Eagles. The defense. Now you got Spags and you got Vic Fangio, but the defense, I'm talking about the players on the field. I have to give it to the Eagles as well. Statistically, the Eagles are the number one defense in football. They're great at every level. Jalen Carter is a problem on that line. They got good linebackers. They got good secondary safeties. They got everybody. Big play Slay. They got Bond at the linebacker position. Like, they got too many weapons out there flying around. And they've been proving it all year that their defense is legit. So we saw what they did to Washington. Obviously, Washington's not Kansas City, but I think this Eagles defense gets the nod from me over the Chiefs defense. I like the Chiefs defensive line. They have like individual players that make plays. On the Chiefs side, they got Chris Jones makes timely plays, right? You got Karlaftis that can make a timely play. You got Justin Reed at safety. He'll give you a blitz at the right time, a third down or something like that. You know what I mean? They have individual players that'll make plays. Nick Bolton will make a play or two. But as a unit, the defensive unit of the Philadelphia Eagles, I feel, is a better unit. The statistics say it. They're the number one defense in football, so I got to give it to them. And then we get to the trenches. And for those of you who aren't aware what the trenches are, that is the front seven. So we're talking about offensive line and defensive lines on both sides, on both teams. The best offensive line in football, if not the Detroit Lions, it's got to be the Eagles, right? The Chiefs have had some trouble with their offensive line. Creed, Humphrey, all these guys, they've had to move people around to protect weak spots in their offensive line, and now they got to deal with Jalen Carter on the other side. And then on the Chiefs side, yes, you got Chris Jones, who is a problem, but then you have an offensive line in the Eagles that have been playing well all year. We wondered how they would replace Jason Kelce, and they found a way to do that throughout the season, and it's come successful. So the Eagles are rated higher on both sides. Again, statistically, the Eagles are rated higher than the Chiefs. It's crazy. I looked at these stats and I'm like, how is this possible? How are the Eagles checking all these boxes on the Chiefs? Not saying the Chiefs are bad. It's just like the Eagles are number one or two in these statistics. The Chiefs are like 6th, 7th, 5th, right? So they ain't too far off. But when you got a Patrick Mahomes, he kind of covers, he's the Band-Aid, right? So if we look in the trenches, and Super Bowls are won in the trenches, right? Look at all the past Super Bowls. That's where the game is controlled. So you can't ignore the trenches. And then you got the coaches. The Chiefs get the nod with the coaches. Spags, he put together a masterclass in that fourth quarter in the AFC Championship game, if y'all remember, against Josh Allen. They just have plays and they know the right time to call these plays, and they work. The team is successful at it. You can tell just veteran leadership. Everybody's on the string. They know how to do it with discipline. They are a long way removed from these defensive false starts back when they were starting this dynasty. The D Fords, like they're past that, right? This team is at another level schematically. This team is at another level when it comes to making plays at the right time. Andy Reid, and Nick Sirianni, it's not even a question who's the better coach there. And so the Chiefs get the nod with the coaching. So you look at the chart, right? And you're probably looking at it as like the Eagles got this sold up. They got the trenches, they got the run game, they got the defense. Obviously the Chiefs got the quarterback, and the coaching, but statistically, everything points towards the Eagles to win the Super Bowl. So when it comes to the Super Bowl, how do I decide who I'm picking, right? And I told y'all in the season 6 finale, if you remember, situational football, right? The Super Bowl comes down to situational football. 30 of the 58 Super Bowls have been one possession games. The Chiefs have won 17 straight one possession games, including the playoffs. With that being said, it is something about this team, man. With that being said, I have the Chiefs three-peating and winning this Super Bowl. It's just hard to ignore. 17 straight one possession games they've won. And like I talked about last season, situational football. Nobody does it better than Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo when it comes to scheming, getting what they need on third down, getting the right plays, and making it happen. The only way the Eagles can win this game is if they blow the Chiefs out. They have to. And I don't see anybody blowing the Chiefs out. So I don't think they can win this game. In the last two Super Bowls, the Chiefs against the 49ers, they was down one score at halftime last year, and they was down in the fourth quarter, forced an overtime and won. The first Super Bowl they won, they was down 10. They was down double digits in the second half, I believe in the fourth quarter. And they came back and won. Tyreek Hill made the crazy catch. Like you have to, this team, I mean, Mahomes, Andy Reid, man, they like Michael Myers, man. You think they dead, they not. Like you got to chop these dudes' heads off metaphorically. Like it's crazy. The situational football that they play and how this team has mastered coming through at the right time. Even though all of the stats say the Eagles, in a game like this, when a team that's motivated to make history, to win 3, to put their stamp on the NFL history books, to say we are the only team to win 3 straight Super Bowls. Mahomes said it at the parade last year. We ain't done yet. We going for that three-peat. He called his shot. He Babe Ruthed that thing. So for them to even be in the Super Bowl is mind-boggling. And this game is going to be a chess match between Andy Reid, Vic Fangio, Kellen Moore, and Spags. And if it's going to be situational football, during this dynastic run, there has not been a better football team in situational football than the Kansas City Chiefs. And with that being said, I got the Kansas City Chiefs pulling this thing out and winning the Super Bowl, man. It's hard to go against these dudes. Just think of this stat. Remember what I said. The Chiefs have won 17 consecutive one-score games. 17 straight. Situational football goes to the Chiefs, man. So y'all let me know what y'all think. Who you think's going to win this Super Bowl? I was racking my brain for the last 2 weeks trying to figure out who I think can win this game, man. But just based on what we've seen all season, if the Eagles don't blow them out, the Chiefs are winning this game. Simple as that. All right. Thank y'all for tuning into the X Factor Sports Podcast. Of course, the Season 7 premiere. Before we get up out of here, we got to end y'all with this 2-minute warning. All right. We're going to talk about the path to greatness. After talking about all that three-peat and championship stuff, it's only right to segue into some greatness, right? The path to greatness is like going through a forest of failure. Jay, what do you mean by that? What are you talking about? So what does the path to greatness look like? I've talked to people in my life that have accomplished great things, business owners, athletes, so on and so forth. And greatness really isn't defined by money or monetary value or accomplishments of that nature, right? It's more or less defined by impact and the people you've impacted along the way. Everything that I've set out to be great at was hard, and I've failed at it multiple times, whether it's being a great husband, whether it's being a great son, a great friend, a great communicator, right? All of these things were hard things to do. There were pitfalls and failures through all of it until I became great at it. And so the path to greatness is like walking through a dark forest. When you're walking through a forest in the dark, you can't see anything. You're probably afraid. There's things that you hear out there and you don't know where it's coming from. There's pitfalls. You may fall in a puddle. You got to look at yourself in the reflection and wonder, what am I doing here? You may want to go back, say, I'm not supposed to be here right now. Why am I doing this? All these things are happening in this dark forest. But then something happens. Have you ever been in the dark for a long time and you in the dark so long you start being able to see in the dark? You start to see things better, right? You're starting to see all these tricks and traps in the forest. You're starting to overcome these obstacles. You're starting to feel and hear these things, right? As you make your pathway through all these obstacles, all those failures you've had getting through this dark place, you're starting to overcome them. And then when you get to the other side of this forest, when you get through it, you almost have like a sense of invincibility, like you've done something, right? If you can accomplish that, you can accomplish anything. That's what greatness feels like. It's like getting through darkness, right? Failing in that darkness and rising out of it and getting to the other side of it. So just think about that as you move forward. If you are planning to do great things, understand that failure is a part of the process. No person that's great at something will tell you that it was easy, that it was a smooth ride, that they didn't have to back up, regroup, retool, get help to move forward through that path. So just think about that as you move forward in life. The path to greatness is going to be dark, and not everybody wants to go through that. And so that's why there aren't that many great people in the world. But that doesn't mean you're not great because other people don't see it, or it's not on TV, or you're not famous. All right? You can be great to people that you impact in your life. And that's where greatness really comes from. I appreciate y'all for tuning in to the season 7 premiere of the X Factor Sports Podcast. If you like the new gear, all right, if y'all been watching me on social media, we got some new merch coming out and it's great quality. Shout out to Snooch Customs here locally. Y'all can go ahead and tap in, check the QR code at the bottom. Let me know your sizes, colors, whatever you want. We'll get you taken care of, get you right. We got fresh gear all season long. Can't wait to get back to y'all next week. Season 7, episode 2. We are getting started. It's going to be brand new. We got new flavor. We got new vibes all season long. Again, happy Black History Month. Appreciate y'all for tuning in to the X Factor Sports Podcast. We are out of here. Peace.